you're a highly skilled nurse and you spent years learning, training, and of course, dedicating yourself to caring for patients in your home country. And now you're looking at Canada, a country that desperately needs your skills. But instead of a clear pathway, you're just met with a wall of confusion. You see media's promising secret loopholes, articles about hidden shortcuts, and then you jump into forums and read horror stories where people are stuck in the entire process for years. And it honestly feels like you are trying to navigate a maze completely blindfolded. And that fear of making a mistake, a really costly one, is so true for many of them. What if you spend thousands of dollars and waste years of your life only to find out you are missing one key document? Or you followed some advice that was totally out of date? Well, that confusion is going to end today. Let's forget all the myths and the misinformation. And the idea of some magical shortcut is so tempting for many of us. The real shortcut is knowing the correct information, the verified pathway, so you don't waste even a single day or even a single dollar. While some things have changed for 2025, a lot of the core requirements are still the same. And a lot of the information which is new you see online is just dangerously incorrect for not just for nursing, for many other pathways and many other programs. And in this video, we are going to cut through all the noise, and I'm going to give you the proven step-by-step blueprint to get your Canadian nursing license. And this is going to be our 2025 guide to doing it right, doing it efficiently, and avoiding the traps that stop so many amazing nurses from achieving their Canadian dream. All right, let's start by busting the biggest myth that's going around right now. And you might have seen claims that the National Nursing Assessment Service, or NNAS, is not mandatory anymore. Some people are saying you can just use a general credentialing service like World Education Services or ICAS to get your nursing license. Let's be really clear here. For the vast majority of internationally educated nurses, this is simply not true. While it's absolutely true, some provinces like Ontario and British Columbia have introduced some flexibility there for most nurses that are trying to apply for RN, LPN, or RPN roles. The NNAS is still the mandatory first step. Think of NNAS as the official gatekeeper for Canadian nursing regulators. And they are the ones who do the first deep dive evaluation to see how many or how your international education and credentials stack up against Canadian standards. And starting your journey with the best report for your nursing license when your province actually requires an NNAS report is a guaranteed way to get your process delayed and lose your application fee as well. I'm sure that's not what you wanted. So now let's understand what the NNAS report really look like. It's not a quick checklist kind of thing. It's a very detailed review of your entire nursing history. So you will have to go online, create an account, pay the fees, which is about $650 US, and then start submitting all your documents. And this means getting a nursing school to send your transcripts directly to NNAS and having your home country's nursing board send verification of your license and sending in your notarized proof of identity. And then puts all this together into what they call as an advisory report. And this report does not give you a license, but it's a super detailed document that gets sent to the provincial nursing body that you choose to apply to. It's basically your main tool that they're going to use it to evaluate your entire file. And you may have a question about the timelines. Forget about any rumors if you have heard about a 5-day express service for this entire process. As much as we all wish that were to be true, the reality is that NNAS process can take several months only after they have received every single document from you. The best shortcut in this entire process is only to be incredibly organized. Start gathering your documents way ahead of time. Follow the NNAS instructions through the letter and check your file regularly. Gets everything it needs, the faster you move forward in the entire process. So once your NNAS advisory report is done, the next huge step is to officially apply to a provincial or a territorial nursing regulatory body. And this is going to be a massive decision because you have to decide on which province you want to live. And based on that, you have to look at what kind of regulations they have because it's not Canada one process. Every province has its own specific requirements, fees, and processes. Once that's all completed, the NNAS report gets sent to the regulatory UPIC, and that's where the entire process kicks off. And the provincial body will look at your NNAS report and then tell you what else you need to do. And this almost includes a criminal record check and proof that you are proficient in English or French. For example, for the language, obviously you need to have an IELTS score unless you can prove your nursing education was taught in English. Now, some provinces have created more streamlined pathways for nurses who were educated in countries like the United States, Australia, or even in UK, because their training is seen as very similar to Canada's. But even with these pathways, you still have to pass directly. You still have to apply directly to the provincial body and meet all of the criteria. Example in the temporary pause on its expedited pathway for nurse. And this is going to be the most important advice I'm going to give you today. Do your homework, because even before you apply or start the process with NNAS, try to have a primary province in mind. Go directly to the website of the province's nursing regulatory body. They are the ultimate source of truth. Read their handbooks for internationally educated nurses. Check their fees and understand the specific rules on things like recent practice hours. Some regulators require you to have worked as a nurse within the last few years. And if you have not, they might make you take a refresher course, means choosing the right province from the start based on their current and specific rules. It is absolutely going to be a strategic move that can save you an ample of time. And of course, frustration. After the provincial regulator reviews your NNAS report and your application, they'll figure out if there are any gaps between your education and experience and what's required to practice safely in Canada. And here is where you should not panic. This is a very common part of the process for most of the internationally educated nurses. If they do find gaps, you will probably be asked to complete a competency assessment, or bridging program, or maybe even both. And don't treat this as a failure. It's just a structured way to make sure you're ready for success in the Canadian healthcare system. Competency assessment basically is kind of exam or even a hands-on clinical simulation to check your skills in studying. And based on how you do there, you might be pointed towards a bridging program to complete certain courses. And these programs are just made for internationally educated nurses in most of the provinces. And they cover topics like Canadian healthcare, the standards, ethics, communication, and any clinical skills that need a tune up. And these programs can take anywhere from a few months to almost over a year. The cost can also be a big deal, sometimes running into thousands of dollars. But definitely there is help out there. Some provinces offer grants and bursaries to help with these costs, especially if you're willing to work in a rural or underserved areas. It's also a great idea to look for reputable government funded organizations that offer support. The groups like the Care Center for International Educated Nurses and programs like the Pre Arrival Supports and Services Program, they can be of huge help. And the PASS program, which is funded by the Canadian federal government, is a free virtual program for nurses who have already been approved for permanent residency in Canada. And they offer webinars, help you understand the registration process, and even connects you to some of those employers and mentors before you even land in Canada. And getting involved with these resources can give you a major head start to ski- can give you a major head start. And the final major hurdle in getting your license is the registration exam. And if you want to become a registered nurse, all that you have to do is pass the National Council licensure exam. It's simply called as NCLEX. And this is the exact exam that most of the Canadian educated nurses have to pass as well. And passing it is non-negotiable, unfortunately. And every single province and territory has this as a requirement for being a registered nurse. And based on whatever province that you choose, the regulatory body will give you the green light to go write the exam once you meet all of the criteria requirements, which might include even completing a bridging program that they recommended earlier. And this exam, NCLEX, is a big computer adaptive test that's designed to measure your ability to practice nursing safely at an entry level point. And it covers a huge range of nursing knowledge and, of course, some critical thinking skills too. So, seriously, proper preparation is everything. So, many IEMs find the style of the NCLX questions, especially how much they focus on critical thinking and prioritizing tasks, to be extremely different from their exams that they might have experienced in their home countries. But don't underestimate this exam. Invest in good study materials. Do tons of practice questions. Think about taking a detailed, dedicated NCLEX prep course. A lot of the same groups that offer bridging programs, like the Care Center, also provide support for exam preparation. So once you get your authorization to test from the regulator, you can register with the administrators like Pearson to book your exam. And you can take this exam at test centers all over the world. So you might not even need to be in Canada to take it. And after you pass, of course, the results are sent directly to the provincial regulator. And that brings you one giant step closer to your goal. Passing the NCLEX is often the final puzzle piece. The regulator needs to finally grant you the license to practice in Canada. Definitely getting your nursing license is a huge achievement, but it's so important to understand that a license to practice nursing does not automatically give you the right to work in Canada. You also need to have a valid legal status like a work permit or a permanent residency. But the good news is Canada's immigration system is actively searching for nurses. Nurses are in high demand, and there are several immigration pathways designed just for healthcare professionals. And the Express Entry system, which is Canada's main path for immigration, has category-based tasks that specifically target people with healthcare experience. And a nursing background makes your profile super strong in the entire system. So now you have the entire straightforward guide to become a licensed nurse in Canada in the year 2025. So here the true shortcut is not some secret loophole. It's definitely a long-term strategy that you need to work on. Simply understanding the current process, being ridiculously organized, and use the right set of resources. It starts with the NNAS, moves to the specific provincial regulatory that you choose to apply, and navigating any bridging programs, and finally conquering the NCLEX exam. This entire journey is going to take a lot of patience and you need persistence. But trust me on this, it is absolutely possible and achievable. And thousands of internationally educated nurses successfully get registered in Canada every single year. And you can definitely be one of them.